For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. This is one family's story.
Welcome to another episode of Love and Cannabis. I am Nina Simmons.
And I am Orisis Stephenand.
And we are the proud parents of Aiden Stephen.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. So today, we are tuning in from New Orleans.
New Orleans, no lie.
We are here for a wedding.
And Hurricane Barry whenever he shows up.
And shout out to the bride and groom, Marlena and Tamir, for their wedding. And actually, we are doing a vacation, just me and Osiris.
Our first in a long time.
I think it's our first vacation. So without Aiden. And it's really, really nice. People are calling this on social media a bay vacation. Is when you just take a couple with your vacation with your significant other. So we're doing that. And actually, it's quite refreshing. We never really do this. We're always about Aiden.
It's all about the children. You know how it is. It's always about the kids.
It's all about the kids. So we never even do date nights, which is really bad. But so we're enjoying it. So today's episode, we're going to talk about how we used cannabis to help cope with a lot of stressors that we face.
Yes. Especially in the areas of our relationship, just us, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden, family, also dealing with our finances, careers, and even our health.
Yeah.
So it's all encompassed. So
yeah, life is hard, y'all. So
it is.
Sometimes you need a little help. And when you have a child that has any type of special needs, whether it's an allergy, asthma, epilepsy, autism is really big now. It really, really makes life a lot harder. Life is already hard. Marriage is already hard. But when you add a child that has some type of need, special needs, it just changes everything and make things like 20, 30, 40 times, 100 times harder.
Yeah.
So
it does. You also look to lean on people who may be not ready. Like your partner may not be ready to be leaned on so heavy because it's like, I'm dealing with these other issues on my end.
Exactly.
So we have our individual issues that we're dealing with, our individual stressors, whether it's work related, whether it's just the travel. Sometimes you're stuck in traffic for an hour, 2 hours to get back and forth to work. Or is the fact that, certain things that are out of your purview, all of a sudden now you're dealing in your lap, maybe a bill that you forgot about, or maybe some debt or some other outside interference that's causing you to deal with some stressors. And now you have this. So, with cannabis, it definitely helped us in just removing that stressor and allow us to deal with the issues at hand.
So for me, anxiety is huge for me. I'm an anxious person, just gonna put it out there. So I have a lot of anxiety. Then dealing with Aiden and his situation, it just shot out my anxiety. I'm basically like a ball of anxiety walking around every day. And that really took an impact on our relationship with me and Osiris. He's more of a laid back person and I'm always anxious. So that was like a barrier, me always being nervous about everything, being on edge. Yes. I'm rarely ever relaxed. And I'm always in this state of worry. I remember a friend of mine did like a live feed on Facebook, and they were saying her child has allergies to everything. And she said she was always carrying around this fear and this anxiety. And it's the same thing for me, like with Aiden having epilepsy, it's so random. Some days are awesome, and some days things will trigger him, whether he's in the heat or he's tired and didn't get enough sleep. So I just never know. So I always have this heavy heart with anxiety and some sadness, and it's not cool. And I'm trying to, find ways, and the cannabis has helped me, especially when I take it at night. It helps me sleep. But I always kind of deal with this. And it definitely put a burden on our relationship. I know you would definitely see that, right, Osiris?
Oh, my God. Not to come off so strongly about it, but yeah, there was times where I'm like, I need you to come off the edge. It's like, I don't know what I'm coming home to, what I'm going to be dealing with. And it starts usually in the morning. Because for me, I'm a morning person. I get up and I want to get the day started, but I want to get it started on a good note. And for you, when you get up in the morning, it's like
I'm on 10.
Yeah, you're on 10. I'm like, you just got up. I'm like, you didn't even have coffee. You didn't even brush your teeth yet. You're like on 10. And with Aiden, he wakes up with a smile and like, where's my phone? And he's ready to get started. But I mean, to start your day off and it's already tension filled, it's hard to get through the day after that because you're nervous. And a lot of the time for Nina, when she projects like that stress, and I can see it in her face, I can feel in her body, her energy as she walks, that she's concerned about Aiden, I feel it, and now I'm doing it. I find myself in certain days where I should be laid back and with Aiden, not worrying about him and just letting him, have fun, letting him do his thing. I'm worried about, okay, oh my God, is he gonna fall here? Is he gonna do? And it's like, oh my God, I'm behaving like my wife. I'm like, okay, I gotta fall back. But there's times I go back and forth with them, like, this is not fair to us, for the whole household. And then I share with Nina, I'm like, look, if we get caught up in our emotions at this, we will forget the good days that we do have.
And we do have good days. Yeah.
And then we do have some good days. But if we focus on the negative days, we'll forget that we had good days. And then we're going to think that every day is going to be a bad day. And that's what's going to fall onto the idea that, if you think it's going to be a bad day, well, you know what? It's going to be a bad day.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with this a lot. As a mom, shout out to all the moms out there, there's something to say when you carry a child. I'm not to say that the fathers don't have a connection, but there's something that I have a connection with Aiden. Like, I know before Osiris when he's going to be sick.
True.
I know
I'll give you
by
that.
looking at him like, oh no, something's wrong. And Osiris will be like, what? He's fine. I'm like, no.
I'll play it off. I'll play it off.
No. I'm like,
she's
no.
right. 80%, 90% of the time, she's right.
So that's like a burden the mother has of actually having this like sixth sense, like, oh no, something is wrong. Like, I could be at work and I'm like, something's up. He's like, he's fine. I'm like, no, something's up. So it's like, you have to kind of have this balance between your motherly sense and like being paranoid. And that's what my balance has to come. Sometimes he's fine, really, and I'm just like getting paranoid. But there are a lot of times where I'm like, no, he's not fine. And I feel it before Osiris can see it. Not to say that fathers are not there, but mothers, I think something about carrying their child.
Of course, there's a connection.
You do have this like strong connection.
Of course.
And I think that also drives my anxiety as well. So it could be very rough. Another thing, when you have, life is just hard in general. So when you're married, it's already hard. Two people coming from different backgrounds.
Oh yeah, we are so different.
And
we're
so very different.
We laugh about it a lot. The fact that we have an age gap. We grew up in different types of household. I grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment. She's growing up in a house with a picket fence. It's just different. Whole different about it. But yet similar in certain ways that we have drives, we have passions. We have goals that, things are going to succeed, but we go about life differently. I am laid back and just kind of like, because I've seen the ugly of the world, because, the neighborhood I grew up in, it was not nice and it was not safe. I've known people that have been killed. I've known people that have been robbed. I've seen, the worst that society has to offer, but it's always gave me a look at the other side and saying, you know what, there's a better place, And so when I see my family go through these things, I'm like, it's going to be all right. It's going to be right. And I think a lot of it comes from my upbringing and my mom, being the rock, the foundation of my family and our siblings. I mean, this is a woman who raised 4 kids on her own and all have graduated from college, all have their degrees and all doing their careers. So it's like, it's different. Yeah,
it's very different. Our outlook is different. So I'm like stressing every day. I'm like, we live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
And I'm like, I'm okay with it.
I'm like, how are you okay with this?
I grew up in a 1-bedroom, so I was like, I'm okay with it.
I'm like, dude, we gotta get out of here. Like, this is not the way I want to live. So then I get a little stressed out about that.
That I'm too relaxed about it.
And I'm like, why are you not?
Why I'm not stressing.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah, exactly. Why I'm not stressing. But when you start stressing, you stress me. And I'm like, okay, all right. What am I stressing? I'm like trying to figure out what I should be stressing about. And I'm like, I don't see what I'm stressing about. So I'm stressing the fact I don't see it. And so that throws our communication off. And that's
big time.
The biggest problem we have is I can see the sky's blue. She's like, it's gray. I'm like, but it's bluish gray. But it's gray. But I'm like, it's bluish gray. And we go back and forth. It's like, it's just interesting because it's like we're both saying the same thing. But it's just the interpretation that puts an added stress. And then when we go into finances, it's like, hey, I got to look at the numbers. The numbers are there. But I'm like, I got to see the numbers. Well, just let's put the numbers together. I'm like, I got it. But let's sit down and go over the numbers. The numbers are there. I'm like, okay. And we go back and forth. And it's like, okay, we are on the same page, but we're looking at it from different perspectives and spectrum of the scope. So it makes it even harder, even dealing with health, even dealing with just our careers, because I've had to make a change in my career in order to accommodate what's going on with Aiden. And my wife is like, I'm about my career, but at the same time, I will make certain accommodations. So we both are trying to make our careers work. We're trying to make our finances work, and all dealing with our son and his issues.
Yeah. So it's
some
rough.
added stress.
It's a lot of stress. And a lot of times we just focusing on him.
Yes.
So 90% of the time we're like, oh, how can we help him with this? How can we help him with his homework? So it's all about him, and it's rarely ever about us and developing our relationship. Like we said, we don't go on vacation. Hell, we never have a date night. People always posting pictures about date night.
I'm like, what's that?
What's that? We never do a date night. We go out to eat with Aiden.
Well, in fact, when was the last time we ever talked about, hey, let's talk about us? Never. I think we don't. And it's sad.
And I think when you just, everything's about him, and we really never focus on each other, So, and that's another added stress, And, we're laughing and joking about this, but, it's sad. We do get our really dark times.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Do you feel disconnected at times with me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do too. Sometimes I don't even know which person I'm going to be talking to. Am I talking to nervous Nina, or am I going to talk with like Nina who just checked out? It's like Nina who's calm and ready to talk. It's just like I never know.
Yeah, I mean, I said thing with you. I'm like, okay, y'all, he's a Gemini, so I'm like, already there. Who is this? Grumpy or not grumpy? Happy, sad? Which one are we dealing with? And we all feel different emotions at different times. So I may be happy, and there may be a time where Osiris is grumpy because he had to face certain things, or he's feeling the brunt of the relationship at a different time that I'm feeling.
Yeah. Especially as a guy, I have needs. And that sometimes I feel my needs are being neglected, but I'm not realizing that, those moments is that she's thinking about Aiden. And for me, it's like, well, who's thinking about Osiris,
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just going to be real. The sex sometimes is not non-existent.
Yeah.
And that makes him grumpy. And then he stresses
well, hello. Me. I hope it's just me.
He stresses me out. But sometimes I'm just too tired. Like, women, I know you out there. Like, it's not like we're interested in other guys. It's just like between coming home, homework, cooking, cleaning. By the end of the night, even if your child does go, my Aiden goes to bed early. But by then, I am like wiped. Like, there was no romance. Like, I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm like, I just want to
go to sleep. Yeah. I mean, there's moments I've had that too as well. I just want to go, I don't want to deal with anything. But then there's those moments that are actually more so than others. That, yeah, I like to get hugged, cuddled a little bit, nibbled on. Like as a man, yeah, you have those physical needs. And to suppress it and say, okay, I understand, it's hard. No pun intended. It's really challenging to like say, you know what, I'm going to put my feelings or my sexual needs aside in order to allow my wife to deal with whatever she's going on. And and it's like, okay, so what do I do in the meantime? And it's not like a conversation you could have because it's like, she's like, I don't care. You figure it out. I'm stressed out. I got my own thing going on.
Like, I'm in a daze, please. I'm just trying to making sure I get through the day. Lucky I made it to work today.
Yeah. And then come home to have to deal with you and your nonsense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God.
So I just want to talk to you, Osiris. So there was a time you did express to me that you felt like you wanted to lead the relationship. And you know what? My response was like, shoot, you, me too.
So we both want to lead the relationship. But yes, I did. I'm not going to even lie. Yes, there was times it was gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand what my purpose was. I knew that I wanted to be here to help my son and help you with whatever, but I know I couldn't help you because the voices that were in your head were louder than the voices that I can express in trying to help you. So I had to pull away from trying to help you because I couldn't get to you. Mm-hmm. So I knew that the reason why I was there is, okay, we'll put all the feelings aside, put our needs aside, and just focus on Aiden. And I bought into that idea. Because of you, I bought into it thinking that it was going to give you a peace of mind, knowing that, okay, we're both going in the same direction, the same support. but it didn't alleviate the stress. And I recall one night, you and I, we were going to have a serious conversation. You called me at work. It's like, look, we need to really talk tonight. I'm like, oh boy, it was a big conversation. So I'm like, all right. I ended up getting a vape pen, and I'm like, all right. Sit down and Casa's head. Before we even start talking, here's a pen.
Yeah.
Take a pull. I take a pull, a couple pulls, and we sat down, we waited. It was probably the best conversation we ever had in our lives.
Yeah, it was great because the cannabis had kind of, for me, took the edge off.
Yeah.
So I was able to relax without being all wind up and pent up. Because I'm a serious person, guys. I'm just that's who I am. So that kind of took the edge off, and I was able to express to you what was going on, and you were the same with me. And I think that really helped us.
Oh, yeah, it definitely did. In fact, you actually laughed at a couple of my jokes.
Exactly. Because I'm so serious.
Yeah, because so serious. You don't even laugh at any of my jokes.
And that's the thing. Like, you're in a relationship, there are going to be times where you're like, oh my God, I need to leave this. Like, I cannot take it here, And it's common. And then when you told me that, I was like...
Common. Just not to interrupt you, but it's so common that we find that out of the 50% of marriages that end up in divorce, 90% that do end up in divorce is because they have a disabled child in the home.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. And then if you think about it, like what's the record? They said, not the record, but what's documented now is like 1 out of 35 or 40 kids that are diagnosed with autism. Could you imagine?
Yeah, so a lot of people
end up in divorces. And then you have some single parents. They don't count the single parents.
Yeah, so a lot of people in our situation, and it's just the stress. You probably still love each other, and the love is still there, but it's just
the added stress.
It's just the added stress. And like when he said that to me, I wasn't like taken back. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
We're dealing with some rough stuff. And like I think we used the cannabis. What we did, it allowed us to talk, and I got to see.
It took the edge off.
Yeah, and I really got to see where he was coming from, and he got to see where I was coming from. You know,
that's true.
And that's basically what it is. Like having is like understanding for each other.
Yeah, I think that's the part that was missing is the understanding. We think we say we understand, but we don't really until we actually like not have our own perception or conceived ideas of what the understanding is.
Yeah. I didn't really know what was always going through your head, and you didn't know what was going through my head. But then we were coming up with these stories in our heads.
Yes, mixed up.
Yeah, mixed up. And it was like causing this conflict. We're like, okay.
Hey, I remember you said to me, I wasn't even thinking that. Oh, you weren't? Oh, but I thought.
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, you thought. But that's not what was going on. This was what I was dealing with. And it's like, oh my God, you feel like a fool. Like, oh, I could have actually ruined our marriage. I could have ruined everything on basic misinterpretation because we just didn't talk and clearly understood each other.
Like communication is key. It sounds easy, but actually it's really, really, really hard.
It is. And right now we're in a process of like, hey, you know what? Let's look for a new place to live. And I mean, with our student loans, my God, my student loans are sick. Yours is just up there as I am. And our income don't match it. It's like, okay, I got a degree and yeah, what? Now what? We try to figure out. And then we have a child. And so we have to take all these other factors like the distance from where we want to be, the travel time, also the best schools as possible, all this. Do we want to be in the suburbs or do we want to be in the city? And it's like, is it closer to your job or is it closer to my job? And those are starting to be adding stress to the point where I'm like, look, you know what? I don't even want to talk about moving anymore because the cost of the homes are through the roof. And then on top of that, our cost of our living is almost through the roof. So it's like, how do we make this work? And not to say that cannabis is going to solve that problem. It's not. But at the same time, it allows us to take the emotional aspect out of it a little bit to where we could just like sit down and focus like, okay, let's address these issues without the emotional attachment.
Yeah, that was.
And look at it logically.
Exactly. For me, as you know, CBD, it's very good for helping with people with anxiety. Yes. So I do take it for anxiety purposes. And I just didn't at this time wanted to do the pharmaceutical route. I was diagnosed, with depression and anxiety. I was seeing a counselor. I didn't want to take the medication. I wanted to try the CBD, and it has been helping me. Sleep is helping me take the edge off right now so I can like focus and actually deal and have a conversation with Osiris. So it does help, for particularly depression. Like I live in New York City. Let's be real.
Stressful.
It's stressful. Most people have anxiety. I'm sorry.
The commute alone is stressful.
Just getting to work on that train.
Train, just anywhere, just walking down the street is stressful.
Yeah, we all have anxiety. Let's just keep it real and like to acknowledge it. And for me right now, the CBD is hope. I'm not saying that I'm only going to do that. I try to get into exercise, meditation, running, spirituality, my religion, faith, God. I'm trying to do all that. But in the days where it just gets too much, I do go to the cannabis.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, y'all. I just do. I don't do it. We don't do it every day.
But you know what? It's healthier than drinking alcohol.
But for us, it's better than the wine, which I was starting to do that. You know, that glass of wine.
Sometimes more than wine. But it's healthier. People sleep, but it's healthier. It is healthy. It's reconnecting to your body and getting it, getting that tension off. Because, you never go to a bar and find people who are, completely, engulfed in cannabis or in a bar fight. But you go to a bar that's serving alcohol, they're in a bar fight. Yeah, so there's a difference in the body and the mindset when you're doing cannabis. So, I mean, if you want to have like a great conversation with your partner, if you at tense, try it. And you'd be surprised.
It really helps us connect.
It does allow you to connect because it removes layers of self-doubt, self-perception that you may have about your partner or even yourself. Because sometimes we become insecure even around our own partners. Like, how does he see me? How does she see me? How does she view me? And you're putting all these things up, and your partner's probably thinking about, oh my God, I gotta go to work. How do I tell him or her that I didn't pay the bill? Or that or I just got fired, or I'm on the brink of being fired. And you're thinking that your partner's thinking something totally about you, and it's not about you. They may be somewhere else mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of layers,
But if it's anything you do together, it's one of those things that says, like, let's do it together. Let's just see. Just experiment. And I think that was the best part about us in our relationship is just like, because Nina knew nothing about this world. Absolutely. Let's be real, right? You knew nothing about it until we sat down and we started talking about it through our son. Yeah. And then try it just for us in our relationship.
Like Aiden's using it. Why not? We try.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously we have to trust it, right?
Yeah.
If it's helping him, it's not going to hurt us.
Yeah. And also, I think it's something in general, when you're in a relationship, try to have something that you guys do together. Yeah. So we do this together.
We do. Oh, yeah, that's it. Do we do anything else?
Well, the podcast.
Okay. So, I look forward to that.
Yeah. Hey, try to find something you guys can relate to and look forward to doing together. That helps too. And if it's cannabis, hey, go for it.
Yeah, why not? And that's one of the things. It's funny that we're down here for a wedding, and I was talking to the bride, and she's like, do you have any advice? I was like, yeah, the best advice I can have, despite my situation, is that you gotta laugh. Yeah. You gotta find those moments that you laugh, that you share laughter together, because that's gonna carry you through the bad times. It's those moments where you can just sit back and laugh at each other no matter what and be okay with it. Because if you don't laugh, you're just gonna remember all the bad times. There's gotta be moments where you can remember, like, oh my God, that was so funny.
Yeah. It's so funny. So before we wrap it up, is that sometimes, you know what? Screw the kid.
Yeah. Not in a negative way.
Not in a negative way, but sometimes it's so much about them that you forget yourself. And you know what? Screw them. You know what? Because
they're always going to have you.
They're always going to have us. And they're always going to be there, you know. But sometimes relationship may not, and ultimately that's what you want. And it's probably, Yeah,
and truth. And also, you can't take care of your kid if you're not healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. Especially if you and your partner are at odds. It's like your kids are going to see it. They're going to feel it. And it's like it's already another thing you don't want to add. Have fun. Make the best of it. Granted, there's going to be some rough spots. But if you don't look for the brighter part of you, it just makes it harder, And I am starting to enjoy you more so now than before. Not to say that I didn't enjoy you before. Just say now. I think we just gotten over the
hump.
Hump? There's a whole lot of humps we got to do. Yeah, the mountain.
What it is.
Mount Everest.
Yeah, really high.
Bodies everywhere.
So, we're gonna go and try to enjoy each other a little bit more in this NOLA. But what do you think we should talk about next, Osiris? I don't really know.
I think there's more to this as we're dealing with cannabis and family. Yeah, in a relationship. Because I think we didn't even get into, I don't know, the S word, sex.
Okay.
No, I don't know, the sex. But you can actually. Sex and cannabis does work. Because, again, there's so many layers to that, too, in itself. So, let's talk about that without getting too personal.
Okay.
I don't know how you can.
I don't think it's gonna be pretty personal, but hey, why not?
Yeah, why not? Tune in. Yeah, tune in. Let's find out how personal we get.
You see what happens.
Yeah, see or hear how personal we do get.
All right, so that is a wrap, y'all. Ciao.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Love and Cannabis. I'm Orisis Stephenand.
And I'm Nina Simmons.
be strong, and stay empowered.